Hello, friends. Mary here. Mary with Boomers Blooming. How are you all doing today? I hope you've had a fantastic day. You've enjoyed your day, whatever it was that you did. If you went shopping, out to lunch, or just watching Christmas movies. Today was a day for me that I did watch some Christmas movies and some old black and white movies. I love those old black and white Christmas movies. I love those. And it's cold here where I live. And I just took the trash out because the garbage is running. The garbage man is coming in the morning. So I just took the trash out. And it is cold here. I didn't have on a coat. I threw the scarf and hat on. And I just ran out. And you know, I got chilled all the way to the bone. And I'm still chilled. You know, the old folk used to say, I'm chilled all the way to the bone. And I used to wonder what they meant by that. But now I know. I'm chilled all the way to the bone. I come in and I made me a cup of coffee. A hot cup of coffee. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna turn my heat up, temperature up in my house, because it's getting cold at night here where I live. And I think last night it probably went down to like maybe 29. And so when it gets down that low, you can really feel it in the house. You know, I can feel the cold. So I'm going to probably turn my heat up tonight before I go to bed. Not too high though, but I'm going to turn it up a couple of notches. You know, I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and this is how the conversation went. She uses drive-ins. You know, like Wendy's have a drive-through where you don't go inside. You know, Church's Chicken has a drive-through. McDonald's has a drive-through. Zaxby's has a drive-through. Taco Bell has a drive-through. So you can just pull up, look on the kiosk of the menu board, and just tell the people what you want, and just pull on up, pay them, and they'll give you whatever you order. Well, she was complaining about the food she had gotten, how they had left some items out of her bag. And it just so happened that she pulled out from the drive-in spot and she looked into her bag and she saw they were missing items, so she had to turn around and go back through the drive-in, get in line with all those cars, go back through the drive-in to get back to the window to let them know that they had left some items out of her bag. And so I told her, I said, you know, I don't go to the drive-in. I go in. If I go to Wendy's or any restaurant that has a drive-in, I don't use the drive-in. I go inside. And the reason I go inside is because I've always felt that if they have old foods such as old French fries or old sandwiches or whatever, and they're trying to get rid of them because they don't want to throw that food away, food is high, they give them to the people who come through the drive-in part of the restaurant, because they know that most of these people that come in through the drive-in part, they're going to go home with that food, and when they find out that something is not hot, some items are missing, they're not going to drive all the way back to that restaurant. They're just going to live with it. Now, the next time they go to that restaurant, they'll probably complain about my order was not correct. You left this out, or you didn't give me that. But as far as driving back to that restaurant, they're pretty much not going to do that. And restaurants know that. Now, I'm not saying that the food is unhealthy that they give people through the drive-in window. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it could have been just laying around a little while. Not quite as fresh, You know what I'm saying? French fries could be lukewarm because they dish the French fries up and they sit there for a little while. And so when you get them, they're not very hot. The sandwich could have been made and it's just been laying back there maybe for 30 minutes or whatever. In other words, what I'm saying is, friend, I think when you go through the drive-in, it's a difference from going through the drive-in versus going inside and ordering your food. I go inside and order my food. I don't go to the drive-ins. I think, which may be just what's the word for that? A pickle. The way I think could just be my imagination. I don't know. But I feel that if I go to a restaurant and I go inside and order, I'm going to get fresher food. And like I said, it's not that the food you get through the drive-in, when you come up to the drive-in window, is unhealthy food. I'm not saying it's bad food, but it just could have been sitting back there for a while. So rather than throw that food out, I would think they would say, well, we'll just give it to the people in the drive-in. Because by the time they get home and they're not going to come back up here. But now if we serve that food to people who come in and maybe possibly sit, they're going to notice it. And they're going to complain because they're right here in the restaurant. So those French fries that we didn't sell in the last 15 minutes, just put them in that bag over there. Let her hand them to the people at the drive-in window. Now, I know all restaurants don't do this, but I think some of them do. And my friend has been complaining about cold French fries, items being left out of her bag when she gets home. And like I say, most people are not going to get back in that car and run up to that restaurant. And the restaurants know that. You know, so many places have drive-ins now, drive-thru, whatever you want to call them. You know, you drive around, you look at the menu, and you talk to the girl, and you tell her what you want, and then you drive up, you pay, and you get your meal. So many places have that now. And I told her, I was really teasing her, but I was really serious. I told her, I said, DoorDash, I think, is another way that they get rid of food that they don't actually want to serve to the customers who are in the restaurant. You know, it's not that the food is bad, but they know that food is being taken to somebody's house. And if it's not if it's not hot, if an item is left out, or just whatever could go wrong, that person isn't going to get in their car and drive back up there to that restaurant. They're just not going to do it. Now, I don't know what part DoorDash would have in that, you know, as far as making the purchase good. But, you know, it's just the way I think. And I do believe this. I believe that this is a way to serve food to the customer that you might not necessarily serve if they come in and purchase it and certainly sit down and eat it. Because they're going to complain. They're right there in the restaurant. For that reason, I don't do drive-thrus or drive-ins or whatever you want. I go inside. You know, there's a donut place up the street from me, about 5 minutes from me. It used to be an ice cream shop, and they turned it into a donut shop. They sell the best donuts. Well, they installed in that building where you could drive through on the side and order your donuts, order your smoothies, and order your coffee, because they sell all of that. And I see a lot of people driving through there. But when I go up there, I go inside. And, you know, some of these restaurants, too, they lock the doors a certain time at night or during the evening. So you can't go in. The only thing that's open is the drive-thru. It's the drive-thru, because you can't, I don't know if that's for safety reasons. I don't know why they do that, but certain times of night, they will lock that door and you cannot come in. and you have to go through the drive-in. Now, Dunkin' Donut is about 3 miles from me, and they have a drive-in. And I'm gonna tell you, I stopped going up there because you get old donuts through the drive-in. Those donuts taste like they've been sitting up there for 4 hours. 4 hours. That's their way of getting rid of those donuts. Now, if you go inside, the donuts are better. But if you go through the drive-through, I do believe they reach back there and get those donuts that have been there for a while. Because most people, they're not going back up to Dunkin' Donuts. Once they get home and they open that box and they sit down to enjoy those donuts, and they see that they're not really fresh, they're not going to drive back up to that. I mean, some people may if they're close enough, but most people would just deal with it. And that's why I stopped going through drive-ins and drive-throughs. I stopped going there because I became dissatisfied with the food they would give me. Sometimes items would be left out. Sometimes the order would be messed up. It wouldn't be what I ordered. If I ordered a hamburger with no pickles, I get home and the hamburger is full of pickles. So I'm home now and I'm not going back up there. So I just deal with it. But had I been in the restaurant and I saw that, I could say, hey, I ordered this hamburger and I ordered it with no pickles and it's full of pickles. Please redo this. So I really feel like that is a way to sell food that maybe, I'm not saying it's not good food. I'm not saying it's going to make you sick. That's not what I'm saying. But just maybe the French fries been sitting there for 5 or 6 minutes. Or just maybe they made a sandwich and somebody changed their mind. And so they just put it back there because the next person may want that sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I was talking to my friend, she admitted that sometimes when she goes through the drive-in, her food is not as fresh, like I said. French fries are not hot, like I said. Items are missing, like I said. And she's home now. And she's not going back up there. So, for that very reason, I go in. Now, I know out here where I live at, a lot of people love drive-thrus, drive-ins or drive-thrus, whatever you call them. And the line is so long. Especially at Chick-fil-A. Ooh, that line is so long at Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A has a system that they really get those people in and out of there. But that line is so long. When I go to some of these other restaurants, the line is so long. I guess people just don't want to get out their cars and walk into the restaurant. Because it's so convenient just to order in your car, pull around, and pick up your meal. So, when I go up to Zaxby's, because I like Zaxby's chicken, that line is wrapped around that building. And sometimes I go in Zaxby's and there are 3 people in there and everybody else is just sitting there waiting. I'll probably never change from this because I do believe that when you go through that drive-in, you're going to get that food maybe that's been sitting there for, not all restaurants now, I'm not saying all restaurants. I know there's a restaurant up the street from me, and I'm trying to think of, I don't know if it's Chili's or Red Lobster. I can't really remember which one that is. But here's the thing. To do a takeout, you call them on your phone and you tell them what you want. And you give them your number as you're sitting there in the parking lot. And then when your meal is prepared, they give you a call and you go in and pick it up. It's already in the bag. It's already packaged and everything. Well, when you get home, if there was a mistake made, if something is not right with that meal, you're home. And you don't want to put your clothes on and drive back up there. So what do? Most people just say, oh, well, I'll just deal with it. But you know, food is too high for that. It's just too high to say I'm going to deal with it. So I don't. I get out my car and I go inside. And you could say there's a few extra steps added to my daily lifestyle, my daily walking. Just getting out of my car, going in there, standing in line. Most of the time, there's no line in there because everybody's in the drive-thru. And most of the time, especially when I go to Zaxby's, I get waited on right away because most of the people are in the drive-thru. Which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I just always felt that you get your best meal when you go inside. Now, I could be wrong. And I'm pretty sure some people would say, Mary, that's not true. So put down in the comments, do you go through the drive-in and get your meals? Or do you go in and place your order? Whether you're going to just place it and leave or whether you're going to place it and eat. How do you do that? Do some of you all feel the way I feel? Have you had experiences like my friend? Like when you go through that drive-in, the food is cold or it's lukewarm or they forget to put certain things in there? Have you all experienced that? Put it down in the comments. Some of the things you experienced at that drive-in window. When you place your order on the outside of that restaurant and you go through that drive-through window and you get your food. You know, I remember when I did used to go, I went to this barbecue place one time because they have a drive-through. Real nice barbecue place. You know, it used to just be fast food places, but so many nice restaurants now have drive-through. So I went to this nice barbecue restaurant and I ordered my meal and I paid for my meal and I got my meal and I said, some said, pull around in the parking lot and check your food. Because when I used to go to the drive-in, I used to check my food before I left. Because so many times when I would go through that drive-in, my food would be incorrect. Sometimes I get somebody else's sandwich, or it was just something all the time. So I said, nope, no more. I just go in. But anyway, I went to this nice barbecue restaurant. And I pulled around to the side. I had ordered a small, a half rack of ribs, baby back ribs, because it's like I said, it's the barbecue place. And I had ordered a half of a barbecue chicken through the drive-in window. So when I pulled around into a parking lot to check my food, guess what was missing? The half of the barbecue chicken. Now, I live about 15 minutes from that barbecue place. I am so glad I checked my bag to make sure everything was in. So what did I do? I had to get back in line, wait my turn, come up to the window and say, you know what, you forgot my half of barbecue chicken. Now, I could have gotten out and went on the inside, but it was raining that day. I didn't want to get wet. I thought to myself, Mary, you should have gotten that umbrella out in the first place and just went in the restaurant. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who experiences this. I'm sure my friend is not the only one who has had trouble with the drive-in windows and having your orders wrong. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that goes into a restaurant and prefers not to use those drive-thrus. Put down there in the comments some of the experiences you have had going to the drive-in window, going through the drive-in line. Put down there in the comments some of the things that you've gone through, some of the mistakes that have been made, and how you handle it. Do you just get home and say, "Oh well, I'm not driving 20 minutes back up to that store, up to that restaurant, I'm sorry." And so you just eat it and go to bed. Whoop. I'm sorry, friends. I'm always hitting the foot of this tripod. But now, put it down there. Let's talk. You know, food is high. It's very high. And so when you set your taste on something special and you go through that drive-in and you don't get it, and you're home and you open that bag and, you know, like I was saying, I think this even happens with DoorDash. I think, not all the time, but I think with DoorDash sometimes something that may have, not that it's going to make you sick, but something that may have been laying around 10 or 15 minutes, and they put it in your bag. and that DoorDash person delivers it to your house. Now, you're not going to come out of your house coat, your fluffy shoes, and get in that car and go back up there. Now, you'll probably complain to DoorDash, and maybe you'll call a restaurant. I don't know how you handle that with DoorDash, but I do know how to handle it by not going through that drive-through window. And so I hope you all have had a wonderful day. You're getting ready for Christmas. I don't think I'm going to do probably no shopping at all this year. You know, I was looking at television and they said that Black Friday after Thanksgiving was very lean. They expected humongous crowds of people who didn't show up. The economy and people's pocketbooks and the money that they have. I can understand that. People just don't have a lot of money to spend now. Most of us, that is. So, you know, you do the best you can. But put down there in the comments, because I laughed so with my friend when she told me about her cold French fries. And then she went through the drive-in one time and she didn't even have her bread. They left her bread off. I'm like, how many mistakes can you make? And I told her, I said, well, they knew you weren't coming back. Maybe they needed that corn muffin or that bread to give to somebody who came into the restaurant. Now, that was really a joke, because I don't think they do that. But I do think they have those French fries that's been sitting there 5 minutes, and they'll put them in your bag. Because you're not coming back. So, friends, I've had a long day. I've enjoyed my day. Like I said, it's been cold here. But today the sun came out and it warmed up some, and wasn't quite as chilly when I took my garbage out. It was chilly, but it was colder the last couple of days than it was today. So what's today? Wednesday. You know, we're going toward the weekend again. We're in the first week of December. Before you know it, we'll be at Christmas, and then it'll be New Year's. And do you all have any New Year's plans? You know, there's this old thing that, especially in the South, on New Year's Day, you cook black-eyed peas and collard greens. Black-eyed peas and collard greens they're supposed to bring you luck during the new year. So, everybody is cooking black-eyed peas and collard greens and cornbread, so they can have good luck during the coming year. You know, a lot of people still do that. In fact, I cook black-eyed peas and collard greens. Do I believe that has anything to do with good luck during the year? No, I don't. But I want to feel a part of it. You know, I want to feel a part of it. People are cooking black-eyed peas and cornbread and collard greens, and I want to feel a part of it. Even though I don't think that has anything to do with that coming year. So, you all have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. And keep your peace. And if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. If you just like me, the way I present myself, the way I talk, my laid-back personality, the humorous side that I have, and you just like watching me. Put my little hat on. See my Christmas hat? Isn't that cute? I bring this out every year along with my Christmas earrings. Aren't they cute? I put them away at the end of December, and then I bring them out every year. I just thought that was precious. So, like I was saying, if you like me, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would, please. It's called Boomers Blooming. Because we are blooming, we're getting better and better. So if you would subscribe, it doesn't cost anything. They're not going to take your credit card. They're not going to send you a bill in the mail. What that does is that when I post another video, it will let you know that I have another video out there. And I have some great videos. I have great videos already out there on YouTube, and I have great videos to come. And I don't want you to miss it. So if you would give me a subscription, it's absolutely free. Subscribe to my channel, Boomers Blooming. And so until we talk again, until I make another video, you all stay safe and enjoy yourselves, and I love you guys. Bye.